Hey, how's it going? Zach D Productions here, and I'm here for a list video for you guys. So for this list, I'll be going over my favorite movies from the year 1989. Now, I thought overall 1989 was a very solid year for movies, especially in the action genre. Now, I do have a list of 6 films right here. Now, I know, really, Zach, only 6 movies? Yeah, I did decide to narrow this list down to only 6 films, just to keep this list rather short. But I do have a good selection here of movies, some classics on this list for sure. And this list is also in no particular order either, so let's go ahead and begin. Now, I think the first film I'm going to go over here is The Punisher, 1989, with Dolph Lundgren, definitely a great actor. I'm definitely a big fan of Dolph. And this is maybe my favorite of the Punisher movies, and maybe Dolph has a lot to do with that. And I do like The Punisher 2004, but to me, I just don't think it's as good as 1989's Punisher. So Dolph's performance in this movie is, of course, great. There's a lot of cool action, and it's just overall a great flick, great action flick. So Punisher 1989, definitely one of my favorites from that year, definitely a classic. So next we have Back to the Future Part 2, which to me I think is a very underrated sequel. And I think the original plan for Back to the Future was to not make any sequels. I think that was the original plan, just to not make any more after the first one. But I think because the movie did so well, they did decide to make more and make a trilogy out of it. Now, I think we can all universally agree that the first Back to the Future film is the best, but there is that debate, what is the weakest Back to the Future film? I know a lot of people do say the second film, but to me, I've always went with the third film as the weakest, but I still do like that movie. And that's the thing, we can all also agree that there is no bad Back to the Future movie. They're all good, they're all classics for sure. These movies were definitely a part of my childhood as well. Watched them a lot as a kid. And I do like the second one because they actually did something different. They actually went to the future in that film, and they took the story in a darker direction. So I do think that Back to the Future 2 does have a lot going for it. It's overall a good film. And again, all 3 of the films are classics. Now, do I need to see any of these films again anytime soon? No, because again, I did watch them a lot when I was younger. So again, Back to the Future Part 2, solid movie, definitely a classic. So next we have Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Honestly, maybe the best of the Indiana Jones movies. I really dig this movie a lot. Of course, Harrison Ford's performance as Indy is great, and Sean Connery is also in the movie as well, which was really cool as well. So yeah, of course, this movie has almost everything you love about Indiana Jones, the great adventure stuff, you know, of course, the stuff with Indiana Jones and Sean Connery's character in the castle, and they are tied up and they have to escape. That scene is, of course, really intriguing when they have to escape from the flames and everything. So yeah, of course it has all the things that makes Indiana Jones great. And again, it's maybe my favorite of the Indiana Jones movies. So overall, The Last Crusade, great film. I don't think anyone would argue with that. It's definitely a classic. And I'm sure a lot of people could agree that this is the best Indiana Jones movie. Now, you do get mixed answers when it comes to asking fans what their favorite indie film is. You'll get answers for The Last Crusade. Some people might say The Temple of Doom or Raiders of the Lost Ark. And those are all classics, all great movies. But yeah, I don't know. Last Crusade just has something really special with it. And again, Sean Connery's performance is also great. So there's that. So overall, The Last Crusade, great movie for sure. Next, we have Batman 1989. A great movie, probably one of the greatest superhero films of all time, and maybe one of the most influential superhero films of all time. I'm definitely a big Batman fan, and this is definitely one of the best live-action Batman films. Jack Nicholson is also the Joker in this film, which is really cool. And Michael Keaton is, of course, Batman. And I think when it comes to who's the best Batman, I mean, That's something else that you'll get mixed answers for as well. But I do think that Michael Keaton was the best Batman, at least in my opinion. So there's that. So overall, great movie. A lot to like with Batman 1989. Definitely a classic. All right, so next we have Godzilla vs. Biollante. A great movie, maybe one of the greatest Godzilla movies ever made. I love this movie. A lot of you know that I'm a big Godzilla fan, and yeah, this is a solid movie for sure. I definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it, especially if you are a Godzilla fan or just in general a fan of monster flicks. Biollante, I think, is one of the more unique Godzilla villains too, because it's basically like it's basically a scientist's daughter, but like reincarnate into like a giant monster plant or whatever. Really interesting concept for sure. So Godzilla battling a giant plant monster, that's really intriguing, really cool for sure. So yeah, I do like this stuff with Godzilla in the movie. And yeah, a lot of cool scenes in the movie. And again, probably one of the greatest Godzilla movies ever made. So Godzilla vs. Biollante, great movie. Okay, so lastly for this list, we have a James Bond film, License to Kill. One of the Timothy Dalton Bond movies, and it's great. It's a great film. I know there's fans of James Bond that even say that this is the best Bond movie. I would definitely say it's one of the best. They took James Bond in a darker direction as far as the franchise goes. It's definitely different. It's not your usual Bond movie, which I think is why a lot of people gravitate towards this movie, because it is different, it is unique. And I do like Timothy Dalton as James Bond. He is one of the more serious roles when it comes to the Bond actors. Him and Daniel Craig do deliver the more serious side of James Bond, which I don't have a problem with. I do like Timothy Dalton as Bond quite a bit. And overall, License to Kill, again, one of the best Bond movies for sure. So definitely a classic. Okay, so that is my list of my favorite films that came from the year 1989. Feel free to let me know what you think. Do you agree with this list? Do you agree with some of this list? Feel free to let me know. And what are your favorite movies from 1989? Feel free to let me know in the comments. So on that note, thank you for watching. Have a good one.